Yep, just scraping some gasket off here on the head so we can get this intake manifold on. Got the intake gasket right here, ready to go. What we've been doing is cleaning some of these threads off so we can get the old bolts on. Come to find out, while we were doing it, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but some of our bolts, our intake bolts, are bent. So we're gonna have to go to. Can you tell that on camera?
There it goes. Yeah, you can kind of tell.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell, but they're just slightly bent. Anyway, we got 3, 4, 5 of those things that are bent. So I think the reason they're bent is I didn't have the bracing that goes underneath the intake manifold, connects to the lock, and I had that like that for 10 years. Then right before we took the motor out, Jacob laid on top of the intake manifold. I'm not saying it's Jacob's fault, I'm just saying 10 years and that I think bent the bolts just a little bit. So we gotta go to the hardware store and get those. They're gonna be for the upper plenum. But while we do that, why don't you check out some stuff we did the other day with the fuel rail, where we kind of bent some of the hard lines on the fuel rail so it flows a little bit seamlessly. Anyway, check that out.
Flashback.
As to get this motor ready, one of the things I want to do is I want to simplify the fuel line system on the fuel rail. So, as you can see here, here's the stock fuel inlet, where the fuel from the fuel filter comes into the rail, and then it comes out here through the pressure regulator, and it comes to so these hoses normally went through these openings on the intake manifold, and it's really difficult to remove the intake manifold without you have to remove the fuel rail, which gets in the way because you kind of have to remove the injector harness, and just creates a lot of issue. And I think the reason why Toyota did this is back here there was an EGR valve system, which was hot gases being recycled into the intake, and you wouldn't want to run fuel next to any of that. But what we're going to do today is we're going to take this line, I'm going to manually bend it to make it go straight, and I'm going to try to bend this one to kind of come out this way. Let's see what happens here. Oh gosh, yeah, I started bending. It's like I need to because it wants to bend right here.
Yeah.
It's like I need it to bend here. So
you have to induce the break where you want it.
yeah, it keeps like this line doesn't want to bend. Let's see what happens with this one over here. Oh, maybe if I get the hose out.
Yeah.
Goddamn hoses! These goddamn motherfucking hoses.
Yeah, just put it through the
motherfucking plane.
Everybody strap in! We're about to open some fucking windows.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Kind of kooky. Well, we thought this was welded. It's not. As soon as I loosened this up, it did this number. This piece is welded to the line, but the stopper isn't. It's almost like a stopper when it was tightened. It's like, okay, it's enough. This is...
Yeah, this is as far as it'll let you.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is now... So we tore side, so I'm going to cut right here behind it so I can slip a fitting on. What I might do is not send it with this. I might get a new banjo piece from like a local hose supply store, so I can have a little more... Because you can buy this banjo piece with a ferrule fitting on it, and that'll be much more secure anyway. So I might do that instead, just because it's so close to the edge. So close to the edge.
I'm trying not to lose my head.
So now we can take some hose and put it straight on here. Now a lot of you are probably at home, so a lot of you guys are probably like, you can't do that, you don't have this little, like, right here as you can see, there's like a little ferrule or bubble, like what were we calling it?
We were calling it a flare.
A flare type. So when this hose goes past it, because this hose has been pulled off a little bit, it'll keep it sealed. So right here on the line at the bottom, as you can see, I did that before already. I cut it off with the flare, because on the crest of the Supra, right here is another banjo fitting that goes to the out on the fuel filter. Is that little tool cut this off, and then just slipped a straight hose on there. But ran it for 10 years, no leaks whatsoever. So for 40 psi, it'll do.
End of
I
flashback.
would say this gasket is a lot higher quality than these things were years ago. Because this is like an actual like soft foam, plastic, rubber. I don't know how else to explain it. But it's a lot better quality than it was 10 years ago. I will say that from Felpro. This wasn't here on the ones before. Gasket. At least not that I remember. Yeah, a lot higher quality. So it'll be as good as new. Oh no, don't film that. Don't film. I don't want the EPA to see I'm not putting an EGR valve on. Shit.
What are those?
So these are like washers. They go here. This bolts the fuel rail down. I'm always trying to remember if it goes this way or this way, or getting the injectors. I'm just kind of wiping them down from when they were taken off. Wiping down the rubber O-rings. Whenever you install injectors, you always put oil around the O-rings to keep them from cracking. So I'm just cleaning them first.
How long are injectors usually good for?
Depends on the vehicle.
Ah.
Depends on the driver, all that kind of stuff. Clean gas, that kind of stuff. They're like that are going to sit in there and stay in there by themselves. Yeah, so the head side. We did not clean these reds out, but we did bolt them in the other day, so they should be good.
I think they're still fine.
Alright, so as you can see from the other video, I don't like the idea of stuff going down between the manifold. So I want to go all the way out through the back, especially now since EPA don't pay attention. Since I'm not going to have an EGR valve sitting here in the way of everything, I can just have everything go out the back and down the firewall.
Frees up space.
Yeah. Alright, it's a different day, and Jacob's got a different shirt on.
Yeah.
I got a different shirt on, and we're off to the harvester.
Yep.
Alright, let's go. Alright, we're at the hardware store.
Alright, yep.
Alright, we're at the hardware store. Gotta find the bolts, gotta get to the bolt section of the hardware store. And now we gotta find the right side. Alright, so we're back from the hardware store. We got our bolts. They don't have the correct lock washers to help hold it on, but we're gonna send it for now. Later, before we put it in, we'll take all the bolts out and maybe put a little bit of Loctite on them. But you know, whatever. Now we're before we put the manifold on, I want to put the spark plugs in, and we're gonna check the gap on them. Now, I don't know about y'all at home, but like I don't have a proper gap tool. I got a feeler gauge, and according to the TSRM, it's .043. So I'm using a .023 and a .020 combined, wow, to do the gap. Because .023 plus .020 is .043. Simple math. And y'all said y'all don't use math anymore. What would you use that in the real world or whatever you grew up? Anyway, that's what I'm doing now. Alright, before we continue putting the manifold on, we want to go ahead and put the bell housing, flywheel, and starter combination, just because the harness is going to droop down back there, and it's going to get in the way.
Yeah.
This would be here my R154 bell housing for the M series motor. I sold the R154. Yeah, I sold the R154. But got to keep the bell housing because the guy was putting it on the JZ motor. Had no use for it whatsoever. Let's push this back this way. Give it some more room. Push, 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 push. Okay. Okay, there we go. it on to the top. Alright. So, the other day I did an AutoZone online pickup where you order online, you go and pick it up, and I needed some 5/16 hose for the thing, right? For the little, and it says 5/16 on the receipt. There's a part number next to it, and you know what they gave me? 1/4 inch. Someone cut 6 feet 1/4 inch and put it for my order. It's like, what dumbass doesn't know how to read a receipt? 1/4 inch 5/16 are 2 different sizes. Sorry, this my rant's over with. I just got some. Now this is just regular 5/16 emissions line, like fuel line, not fuel injection line. You technically want to use fuel injection line. I've been using the stock line that came with the car, just cut up into pieces and kind of moved around, and it's been working for 10 years. But with ethanol contents getting higher in fuels, even if you're not using E85, it can break down some of this very like regular hose. Injection line has almost like a liner, like a special blue liner inside of it, and it's like 2 to 3 times as much per foot. I mean, this is just for the short term, for us starting it up in the driveway, not the permanent stuff when it goes in the car. Now we're gonna move on to actually putting on the intake manifold. But before we put the intake manifold, we got to at least first lay down the harness here and plug in the injectors. Just because once the manifold's on, it's going to be kind of harder to do that, I think. So anyway, cut 2. Let's do that. That's what I want to give you.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so we found out that these connectors go to the ECT solenoid and the automatic transmission sweep. Anyway, so now we're going to take, now all these wires originally went through here because it connects to the starter, the ground, and then it would go back towards that way. So we undid it from this little right angle thing, and we're going to loom a lot of this excess stuff together and tape it up. I think we'll tape these up and then tape them to it. Okay. Where's our... Like this? Not brush real quick.
There you go. There you go. That's broad.
Yeah, we're gonna let these go through their normal thing.
So these 2 together?
This right here first.
Okay. Right here.
All that exposed wire, yeah. Oh, it's so sticky. Alright, I just gotta trace out a gasket for the cold start injector because I don't have a new gasket. I don't feel like putting silicone in. Finishing up here making my paper gasket out of this stuff. Finishing up for the cold start injector, so I don't have a cold start injector gasket. One extension. Fuck that, hold on. I'm so tired of this fucking cold start injector shit. Can't do anything because of this fucking harness. Usually we disconnect the harness, but I can't disconnect the harness because mine's glued on. There we go. And it's designed to go through. So what I'm going to do, cut it and route it around. But it is fucking annoying as crap.
So you're just making it longer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it's a good thing I'm actually going with bigger wire, since the distance is now longer than OEM spec, and...
You need something to bring down that amperage?
No. I need to make sure the amperage stays consistent.
Oh,
so
okay.
I need to have lower resistance.
Right.
So by having a bigger wire, I have less resistance. So this amperage doesn't drop when it goes through this extension.
Yeah.
This 6 inches roughly of that's probably almost a foot. All the girls watching, he thinks that's 6 inches. He's underestimating everything, huh? Ooh. Ooh. If you see really fat connections like this, Carl did them. If you see really tight ones, Jacob did them. Jacob's like a Cuban rolling cigars. He's got really tight ones.
Little tight rolls.
Yep.
Black to black.
Yep.
Green to beige.
Just that first.
Basically, the bane of our existence has always been the cold start injector.
Always, man, dude. Every one I've worked on, to get this off, the plenum, to get to the harness, is always that motherfucker.
Yep.
It's like, sometimes just like clip it, cut the hose, clip it.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. Alright, so we're done bolting the intake manifold on. We're going to put the throttle body on, and when I run an idle air control valve, what Jacob has done, great Jacob here, has made us a plate to put over this spot, and we're going to confirm that it fits real quick because it needs to be painted because it's just steel. But I'm not going to run an idle air control valve because on the throttle body you can actually adjust the idle, we'll sort of adjust it, which we're going to show you in a second. Just make sure this thing fits. Did Jacob do it right? Did he become a master fabricator? Find out in a second.
Dragon balls.
On Dragon Balls. Oh. On here, if you can see it, this thing is called Despot. Despot? I don't know. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing it. Not Despot isn't like a dictator. But anyway, it has a little screw that touches this piece, and you can adjust this screw to kind of push your idle out a little bit, and that kind of gives you a way to adjust the idle. And then you also have this screw right here, which you can adjust as well via a screw right here. So there's ways to kind of adjust the opening of the throttle to adjust your idle, and it's mostly because this is the 80s. Toyota, like many manufacturers, are transitioning from carburetor to fuel injection. So there's a lot of like stuff that's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Carries over, and that completely covers our entire hole for the idle air control valve. And the main reason is because the idle air control is a huge, cumbersome unit where I kind of feel like Toyota should put it here, or just on the end, because it makes it very difficult to work on the fuel area. Hit it with some paint. While Jacob does that, we're going to put the throttle body in with our lovely gasket. So normally you probably wouldn't be doing this, but since our holes aren't super perfect on the gasket, I'm going to kind of screw the bolt through the gasket. When I go turbo and I got boost and pressure and awesomeness,
Yeah.
we'll worry about it then.
Oh, you're gonna run with that on the...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, when boost comes, like...
Yeah, you need a better one.
Well, I go with a finely tuned machine one, you know? It's starting to line up. I just had to get that lined up, I think, bolted down first. This next segment is not brought to you by the people who made this product, because I don't want the EPA on them for making a product such as this. But this is an EGR block-off plate. Billet, or not billet, what would this be? CNC machine.
Yeah, CNC.
EGR plate with a nice little rubber gasket inside. Look, it even says right here, 7M at the top. Ooh, can you see that pretty? Okay. Dropping shit. Anyway, what they cool about this one is I put the little MPT National Pipe Thread plug in, but they allowed you to, like, you could take this off if you wanted to add another vacuum line for like a map sensor.
Yeah.
What's great about this versus the steel thing Jacob just cut out is that it's the thickness of the old plate, so you don't have to use any new hardware. You can use the same old hardware because it takes up the thickness. And now we wait for the plug to dry. Gotta get it like how this was. I don't know how that was.
You know how to do it, so I'm gonna watch.
Do I know how to do it? Do I? Or am I just really good at telling people they're doing it wrong? Manager 101.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
We've all worked for people like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, shut up, you just know how to, you're just good at telling people they're doing it wrong. Spinning. Alright.
Ta-da.
Ta-da! That's for you.
A whole engine?
Yeah.
Thanks. Who said you could take a break? So you guys hoisted it to put it on this?
Yeah. So this one's got better wheels. It's also wider, so it doesn't
I see.
move around as much. Well, not move around. Makes it easier to move around.
There we go.
Just tap it into the starter.
No, it goes into the little plug. Alright, let's test out this. That's a success on that. So fuel pump down, starter down, and it didn't rock that much.
No.
So I think we'll be fine. Unless the engine runs really rough and start to
Yeah.
But I think if that happens, we could kill it, or you can put a hand on it.
Yeah. That should be. Okay. So where you want to put the bolts here?
Nothing stuff on the outside, so you can put that one in the far corner. Pull down towards you. A lot easier. Got the first few. Just see a hole right there. There's a hole. These are only like 8 foot long. It's just like, think about it. If they put Phillips, there you go. Get those top ones. Dun dun. Maybe just need to get a couple things out of here. All this grease we put in here.
I was told to be generous.
That's your excuse.
That's my excuse.
It has been since November.
Yeah.
mini rainstorms.
Yeah. Can't have that all corroded right when we get ready to use it.
Look at that.
Oh, I caught that.
It looks like something else. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well yeah.
Go with that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. And that is an engine stand that's ready to be fired up on the furniture dolly. Tune in next time to see it run and start. Cross our fingers.